It's one of those days where it's much nicer to be on the inside looking out than it is being out there in the cold and the rain, wanting desperately to get in. And Paul is talking to the Ephesians in that kind of way. He talks about them being included in Christ, being on the inside, being part of what God is doing in Christ. This great work of God where he's bringing all things together, all things under Christ. And he says to the Ephesians, you're included in that. You see, sin separates, sin divides, sin takes us away from God and drives us from his presence. But in Christ, Paul says this has all been overturned. And he says to the Ephesians, you are included. And many people want to be included in heaven. Many people want to be part of what God is doing. And it's this kind of vague picture and vague hope of the future. For Paul, this is no vague hope. This is a sure and certain reality. Look what he says. It's not simply that you will be included. He says you have been included already. You are already included, past tense. When did that happen? When were they included? Well, he says, when you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, when you believed the gospel. You see, you heard the gospel preached, you believed this message about Jesus, not just a nodding kind of assent, not just an intellectual kind of understanding and agreement. Believing is this active word. It's linked with following, living, walking, obeying, serving, and above all else, loving. Paul says you have chosen Christ. You have chosen to live with Christ and to be his. You have been included in him. Paul tells the Ephesians that even though they were dead in their transgressions and sins, lost, even though they were foreigners and aliens, now they have been brought into the family of God. Now they are one with Christ, one with God, one with this great family of God's people. The future inclusion in heaven is based on the reality of being included in Christ now. This incredible truth that Christ has overcome my sin. He has conquered the things that keep me from him and exclude me from his presence. And now he says to me, in Christ, I am included.